And hello, SFL. It's Gee. How you doing? I got my boy Will
Will,
here with me.
what's up?
We are gonna do week four. It's week four now. Feels pretty good. And as promised, I'm gonna go ahead and start shitting on this Rob trade from last week. Um, well, you know that I'm gonna shit on it, so you can go ahead and take over it. Do your side of it first before I get to it.
Yeah, so I was going to talk about it a little bit more as we went through one of the games, but kind of basically, Rob doesn't make that trade, he doesn't lose this week. He
Hmm.
would have won, kind of thing. So that was the only problem about it. I mean, listen, I gave him much better offers early on for Travis Kelsey, but at the same time, I think he was in that desperate state of I need to get my team better. I got to get some depth and all that kind of stuff. So I understand that process of it, but he took probably the best offensive weapon and got Justin Fields, which I mean hasn't been good all year. Drake London, who is not getting the targets, and Jerry Judy, who's could be a possibility. So basically, I see that trade as Fields and Judy for Kelsey, and I think basically London was a throw-in. London could have a good year the rest of the year. They could kind of do something, but he hasn't yet.
You know how I feel about this trade? I feel like D. Haas saw the players that he had, that he paid good money for, and then he was like, these guys suck major dick. They are going to suck major dick for the rest of the season, but they still have this name and like this expectation. Let me see what I can get for them. And he managed to get Travis Kelsey out of it somehow. It feels like a Holden trade, right? Like if you were to get like the players that Holden normally like Holden will get like three random piece of shit garbage and offer you that garbage for like a superstar, right?
Yeah, Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase. That's what I've been getting all the time. It's like three crap for Jamar Chase.
Yeah. Um, right? Like that's what this is. But because the names next to the little numbers, right? You like is not what you expect. You expect those names to have different numbers next to it, but like how many points they're scoring.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes it not feel like a Holden trade. Well, I hate to break it to you, Rob. It's a Holden trade. You just got fucked, buddy. Like the numbers next to these players are absolute garbage. Justin Fields, look at this. 20 points, 16 points, 17 points. The guy is throwing an interception every single game. You just watch him play. He's absolute dog shit. He's so bad. He's scared to throw the ball.
He's in his own head.
Yeah, it's. I'm seeing ghosts back.
Mm-hmm.
Remember.
Now, the only thing I can say about Fields is he played three decent defenses the first 3 weeks. He played Kansas City. He played Green Bay. His defense is fairly good. What was it, New Orleans? I can't remember the last
Yeah, New
one,
Orleans is
but
pretty good.
New Orleans is pretty good. So he played three really good defenses. Maybe he'll have a better against Denver. They just got 70 points put on him, but they might be like, okay, we need to start playing well, and they might just baptize Fields as well. So I don't know.
No, like I get what Rob is trying to do here. He he thinks that these guys will have a turnaround, and if they do have their turnaround, they'll be end up being a good trade for him. But
Mm-hmm.
but the reality is Travis Kelsey is a 25 point per game player, right? So you have to the tight end that Rob has in his squad that he can get is like a 5 to 10 point per game player, right? So he has to make up 15 points per game at least from these three players as an advantage to make this trade worth it. And like, okay, so Justin Fields is supposed to replace Tannehill because I get what Rob is trying to do here. He thinks, oh, Tannehill sucks. He's gonna get benched. I'm gonna need another quarterback, right? But guess what? You just replaced Tannehill with another player who also sucks, who might end up getting benched too. So like, you didn't really solve the problem there. Drake London, just a normal waiver wire wide receiver you can get this year. That's how I feel. Judy, maybe, but like that offense runs through Cortland Sutton. Like if you watch Denver play, that is the Cortland Sutton team. Jerry Judy is like the screen pass, like
I
random
watched it
play.
this week. Oh, I watched it this week, and in Sutton I was playing against, and he had all those catches and points. It was crazy.
Yeah, is that offense is Sutton. I mean, Sean Payton came in and fixed the Denver Broncos offense, but it runs through Sutton. I'm sorry, Rob. Like I think you got majorly blasted on this trade. I actually offered him CeeDee Lamb and any of my tight ends. So I was gonna say I'll give you a star wide receiver for Travis Kelce. Maybe he could have talked me into Hill. I don't know if I would have done it, but maybe he could have talked me into Hill instead of CeeDee. But no, he didn't even want to talk because he felt like he needed a quarterback. But again, I feel like he didn't get a quarterback. He got
Well, and it's something that I learned actually from this trade, even though we did a trade just like this, right? We had Saquon 1 for 3 guys. And I thought, oh, that's a great trade. I'm thinking about it now. And I still think, for me, it helped me out with my quarterback situation. But at the same time, like as you said, you can't replace that 20 points a game. We know Barkley's coming back this week. He's still going to get 16 to 30 points a game, right? Smith is getting me those points, so it worked out. But if I'm trading for 3 guys and none of these 3 guys are going to score me 25 points, then I just taken a lineup spot out and now have 3 people trying to score the same amount of points. It just kind of kills you. So
yeah.
I think I've learned that, and I'm not going to try to trade for these, guys unless I have 3 guys for 1, because I think the depth is huge, but at the same time, like, does it really matter when you have lineup spots like we do?
Yeah, I think we blasted them enough. Let's go over here to the waivers. The big waivers this week were both from you. Was Joshua Palmer for 88. Second bid was 46, and then you were the only one that went for Jameis on 25.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah. What I thought was, Palmer, obviously, Mike Williams is out. I think he's going to get a little bit more production. For me, I'm just now planning for the weeks my guys are out. I have 3 wide receivers that are week 7 buys. So I needed another wide receiver, and there's no one out there that could give that same production, I feel like, for a week by week guy. Same thing with Jameis. I have a 2 week 5 quarterbacks. I was like preparing, okay, if Jameis can start the next 2 weeks, which I think he will. I think Derek Carr is going to be out at least this week. Yeah. Probably next week as well. Yeah. At least that just gives me that, and I'll worry about the $25 later on. I don't care. I thought somebody was going to go for him, like yourself.
I was thinking about him. I honestly was thinking about him because I need a week 5 quarterback too.
Yeah, so I thought somebody might go for him because that's why I put 25. And I thought 25 was high, but I was like, at least I'll get him.
Yeah, I wanted to just wait one more week, and obviously that was a dumb decision, but yeah, Joshua Palmer, he could be good. And on the opposite side of Joshua Palmer, Kyle is banking on Quentin Johnson as being the replacement. I honestly think both of them are just going to take targets from each other, and they're both going to, instead of like one guy becomes Mike Williams, they both kind of fill the gap of Mike Williams.
And I saw a lot of things that Quentin Johnson was going to get a lot more touches, but Palmer was already getting touches, so I agree with you, the same thing, that it's basically just going to be who's going to have the better game.
I believe in Johnston. I've made a bid for him, but I also don't think he's ready for the NFL yet. I think he's one of those really raw players. Like, the talent is there. It's just he is not quite good enough yet. Like, he needs a little time to get ready. Let's go ahead and go over our week 3 games. Will, why don't you start us off? What game are we doing here, Will?
I'm looking at going back to the same one. Not going to kick on Rob, but I'm going to go back to the Loud Noises and Martian Law. We spoke about it a lot, so I'm not going to go too detailed. But we had D. Haas and Robert both had 3 touchdowns, so very low touchdowns from both of them this week. As we talked about the Kelce trade, if you just take Kelce out of the trade, it's 160-165. Rob wins. Basically, if you just put the normal people starting, and even if you put the other people starting, he still wins very close. So he would have won this week without the trade, but is he going to win next week or the week after without a quarterback? I don't know, but that was his choice. I mean, Joe Burrow and Fields got the same amount of points, basically 2 points away from each other.
Yep.
He was just worried about Burrow not playing.
But
I
he had the
get it.
backup. He had the backup. So if he didn't
He
make
had
the trade,
Tannehill. Yeah.
he had a Burrow's backup. So even if Burrow didn't
Oh.
play, he could have put in Burrow's backup to play the game. Same thing.
Yeah. Well, so there you go. This week it wouldn't have mattered the trade. Maybe it'll help him later on, but obviously this week kind of screwed him, and he lost this game because of it.
Yeah. Not only that, he sat Tank Dell to play Drake London. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what I'm saying. He wouldn't have Drake London. He would have had to start Dell and Burks because he started London and Judy, and that 30 points would have propelled him.
Yep. Let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and do your game. Big Truck Little Willie versus House of Priapism, 202 to 195, extremely close game. This was the game of 2-0-2 teams, both looking for their first win. You were the one that came out on top. What was really interesting about this game is that you only scored 3 touchdowns, and Gary scored 5. You scored 200 points off of only 3 touchdowns, and managed to beat the 2 touchdown advantage that Gary had over you to come in for this win. And honestly, what I think did it for you is big yards and reception games from Chase and Brown. Even though they didn't get the touchdowns, they were the primary guys. They both got the 30 points. And not to mention Christian McCaffrey just being Christian McCaffrey, and a big kicker game too, 23 points from your kicker. This is what allowed you to squeeze in this win here, despite your low touchdown performance. So really cool for you to see.
And I had 40 on the bench.
Yeah, Adam Thielen on the bench. That's right. Your team's starting to look good. I mean, if it keeps it up like this way, you fixed your quarterback problem. I think before our trade, I think your team is going to be scary.
Well, it just depends on, like you said, the touchdowns. I'm not getting the touchdowns. AJ Brown dropped a touchdown or 2.
Mm-hmm.
Chase dropped a touchdown as well. It was just like you said, I'm just not getting any touchdowns. I don't think I've got more than 3 touchdowns in a week.
What game are you going for?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna go down to Victor's game. So spreading disease and Chalupa. This was an interesting game because, of course, 2 players didn't play. I don't know if he was sleeping or what, but I mean the Jones thing.
He said in the morning the players were supposed to play, so he put them in, and then he went golfing, and then didn't check before 1 o'clock.
I always thought that Watson was out the day before, so I don't know what news he was getting.
Yeah.
I mean, Jones, I remember, was more of a game time decision. And if you talk about touchdowns, he had 6 touchdowns, she had 2. That is a huge advantage for him.
Yeah.
And, it was really, I mean, look at it. I mean, Love and Pickett getting 65 points together, that ain't going to happen again. That's a lot of points from the 2 of them. I mean, he just had some great games, and if you look at his bench, 95 points in his bench. I mean, all 3 quarterbacks. He could have started any quarterback he wanted that week, and if he does do it correctly, he would have 30 extra points probably. He probably started Atwell and Williams as his 2 for the running back and the wide receiver, and he wins going away, maybe even challenging for first place again as far as the amount of points. So it's really close. So tough for Victor. And just showing me that for Kim's team, that she has the running back situation is really tough for her. And I think she's going to have to make some kind of move to really help her out because she's got nothing there. And then, of course, no backup quarterback.
Her kicker, too. I mean, both of these kickers went off today for those teams. I'm going to keep it in the Lowry household and going to do the Magic School Bus versus Elderly Gangbang Gang. So Magic School Bus 238, Elderly Gangbang 186. Holden got 5 touchdowns, all from his quarterback, Dylan with 9 touchdowns. It was a rough game for Holden and his running backs that were pretty good last year, Derrick Henry and Josh Jacobs. And Henry only got 2 points this game. I don't know what the hell Tennessee is doing over there. But yeah, his bench wasn't that good, and doesn't look like there was anything he could have done either. If this is just ran into an absolute beast of a team. I just want to say this. I think Dylan has the best team in the league yet again this season. If you look at his rankings, he has two top 12 quarterbacks. He has two top 12 running backs. He has three top 12 wide receivers, and his tight end is pretty good too. He's leading the league in points for a reason. This team is crazy good. And obviously 238 points, like just beast mode. He hit on all his sleepers. This team is crazy. And last game,
I'm gonna finish. Yeah, I'll finish it off with your game. It was you and Jordan. It was you had 4 touchdowns to Jordan's 7, so 3 touchdown disadvantage from this week. Obviously, CeeDee Lamb didn't have a great game comparatively. Again, what a weird week it was, losing to Arizona and just everything else. So, Tyreek had a good game for you. Your quarterbacks came through really, really well. I mean,
that's
it just
my team.
came down.
That's my team, right? Like that's my team, quarterbacks and wide receivers.
Yeah.
That's.
Yeah, I mean, your running back situation, same thing with Kim. You need a running back. And, well, you have Saquon. He's coming back this week.
Hopefully.
And then, of course, tight end situation. I mean, Musgrave might have been the better choice, but at the same time, it's back and forth, right? What are you going to do? And even if you put him in, who cares?
It wouldn't have nothing I could have done would have worked there. Keenan Allen, 57 points was too big.
Yeah. Yeah, and Zach Moss. I mean, Zach Moss is not going to score 30 points every week as well. So, it was a tough week for you. Jordan, I'm playing Jordan this week coming up. And, quarterback situation, I think 30 points for both of his quarterbacks is probably going to be consistent. So that's the thing I'm worried about this week is he's going to still be in the 30 range for each quarterback. So that's 60 points I'm already predicting for him. And with Keenan Allen being the number one and only one, he might see, again, 10 to 12 targets a game at least.
Yeah. And very last game, it was my game of the week for last week. It was the Kyle versus Ariel game. Campbell Soup, Constant Diarrhea. Both teams were 2-0 going into this week. And the game kind of turned out to be a dud. Ariel had 4 touchdowns. Kyle was 7. And Ariel came back to earth. His players underperformed big time. His team needs Eckler back, I feel like. And on the other side, Kyle got carried by Devontae Adams, 50 points. Andy Dalton with a huge game. Lamar Jackson doing what you expect from Lamar Jackson. But the rest of his team didn't do anything. So, yeah, it's just like both average games for both of these guys. And Kyle barely squeezes in the win.
And Mark Andrews having a tough year so far as well.
Yeah.
It's not been helpful for him. It was a big money buy.
I was a big money buy.
And, we look at his wide receivers, like you said, Devontae's doing well, but with Zach Williams at quarterback, Wilson's value is tremendously devalued unless they can get somebody out there. But, I mean, if you think about it, Dalton with a 40 week when Richardson's out is huge for him. And,
it's like you don't lose Richardson, so that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
But again, T. Higgins is playing poorly because Joe Burrow is playing poorly.
Well, Acne on the bench too. I just saw that.
Oh yeah,
8 points on the bench.
Yeah.
But I mean, Adi's played almost the best lineup. I think he had the best coaching rating of everybody in this group this week. And I mean, the only thing he didn't mess up is put the wrong quarterback in. And if he had done that, he would have still lost. So
yeah, there's nothing he could have done. Well, no, you could have won. He would have needed to start Ezekiel Elliott over Williams as well.
Yeah, well.
That would have done it. Yeah, I think that's all the games for the week. My game of the week next week is going to be the Lowry household. We got a big game of the 2 highest scoring teams in the league. Number 1 and number 2 going up against each other. That's a big deal. And also the fact that they live in the same house, that's also pretty cool too. So, yeah, I think that's my game of the week. Do you have a different game of the week, Will, or?
Just from division standpoints and everything like that, obviously we're not close to it yet. But I think the biggest game of the week is Martial Law versus the Guillotine. Two 0-3 teams. Who's gonna get the win? Who's gonna do it? Who's gonna be down in the dumps, and who's going to be getting back to themselves?
Oh God, if I lose this one, this is gonna be so brutal, especially after shitting on Rob so much on this podcast.
Yeah, that was probably a bad move by you.
Yeah, karma's gonna come and bite me. Talk about standings. Let's look at the standings real quick. So top of the Walters, you got Mike Constant Diarrhea with only scoring 180 points per game. This division is sad.
Thanks.
This division is just sad to look at. Ariel's got more points, but he just lost this week, so he's at 2-1. You are 1-2, finally getting your first win. Gary, rough 0-3 start. The Donnies, 3 2-1 teams, with Dylan obviously at the top, scoring 211 points per game, just crazy. And Rob all the way at the bottom, scoring only 450 points per game. That's rough. And over at the Dudes, we got Kim leading the Dudes, 600 points per game. Second highest scoring team in the league, 3-0, followed by Jordan at 586, Victor 561, Amiu 570, fourth highest scoring team in the league, 0-3.
How's that feel? Fourth
Feels-
highest scoring team.
It feels bad. It feels bad, man. And what feels especially bad about it too is I could be 2-1 right now if I had just started the right players.
Mm-hmm.
I did some bad starts on the first two games that ended in me losing by just this much. So, yeah, I need to get better. I need to find a way.
You might be cheering for me this week because I'm playing Jordan. Help you out.
That would help
Get
me
you
out.
back in.
Mm-hmm. That would help me out. But again, I'm not even playing for the division anymore. At this point, I'm just fighting, hoping to get that 7th spot to get in, Yeah, I think that's it. We got 20 minutes in. Anything else we want to say to the people, Will?
No, Midnight Ride or Mick Ride is going to come out tonight. And so against Jordan, so it'll be fun. So watch it. And yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys. See you again. Good luck to everyone except Rob. I hope you stay safe forever. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.